beg,
beg, big, big, beg.
And sometimes I'd ask you, beg you, beg you, beg you to find your way home to me. Now here you are.
He's going to beg me, beg me, beg me.
And then I will beg, beg, beg for your forgiveness. And I hope with all my heart you will give it to me. Okay?
These years, I thought you'd show more respect.
Please, I beg you. I beg you. I beg you.
Don't beg. It reminds me of what you were when I found you. Hungry in the streets. You would weep, scream, beg them not to. Gabriel, please. I beg you. Give me a sword.
Detour, I beg of you. I beg of you.
I was drunk. I didn't mean for it to happen. Please, I beg forgiveness. Let me be as you are. Let me be pure.
And then Sue, you squirt out a few tears, beg Emma to help him. When she does, boom, I take her out.
kindergarten,
Kindergarten.
Kindergarten,
Kindergarten, kindergarten.
You don't remember this shirt? You made it for me for Mother's Day in kindergarten. 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 It's adorable.
It's perverted.
No, I've known them since kindergarten. They're sweet.
That's right. No.
Okay, check this out. My mother made me wear rubber gloves to kindergartens, so I wouldn't pick up a disease from the other children.
You know, I've done this before. In kindergarten, I was supposed to marry Jason Sorensen at recess, but by the time my class got out there, he was already engaged to Chelsea Himmelfarb.
When I was in kindergarten, I recited Pi to 1,000 Places for the school talent show. I think I got this.
Nice trapper keeper. Faggot.
Believe it or not, she's gotten straight A's since kindergarten.
Good God, Leo, you hunting a bear?
You got a license for that.
I'm a bail bondsman, not a kindergarten teacher.
Did she tell you about the bake sale? Oh my God, the kindergarten bake sale.
What's happening?
Let's see. Oh, well, we have been filling out the world's most ridiculous kindergarten application for Cole.
I'm concerned about you. Like the time I had to step in before Charlie McGlinch kicked your ass. Man, that was... Right, yeah. First day of kindergarten, yeah.
The crime ever dreamt of invading. The last city they would come to would be Vegas. And every kindergarten student knows that if the mob ever did come to town, the last hotel to be tainted would be the...
I wish I wanted to be a chef, or a ski instructor, or a kindergarten teacher.
engineering,
Engineering.
Engineering, engineering, engineering.
Engineering, bridge.
Engage fueling.
Victim's name is Lindsay Kang, engineering professor at Hudson University.
I have a gift.
A degree. I used to study engineering.
Greatest feat of social engineering in history. It's brilliant.
Maybe I have defective engineering too.
How be it all progressing?
It's an engineering phenomenon.
Okay, report to engineering and we'll get you started.
Roger that. I'll be in engineering waiting for Bellamita Radio.
You're exactly right. Cisco, Caitlin, let's start engineering a trap.
You got it.
Of course.
Ooh, okay, let me do my thing.
Oh, really? And what, you're gonna save us with your mechanical engineering skills?
Right now, my skills are the only things keeping us alive, so if I were you, I would shut up.
You shut up.
Attack saved the bus. I turned out to be a genius at mechanical engineering. Calls for a celebration.
It's social engineering. I'll just hack her that way. She won't suspect a thing.
dominate,
Dominate.
dominate,
Dominate, dominate.
We could dominate.
No.
And the role of the male is to dominate his mate, dominate his mate, dominate his mate, and to discipline her when she steps out of line.
Remember, it's not done mess about, so it hard and fast. Dominate, 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 and pacify. One final essence that will bring out and dominate the others.
For a living, I work at a job where I can get fired without notice. My favorite board game is Risk.
I happen to dominate.
I will destroy you at Risk.
No condoms. Or being dominated or role-playing.
I like to be dominated.
I did not determine that it would be my mind that would dominate our existence, but thank God it was.
You know, when one male dominates another, his testosterone level rises.
Only beasts that can kill me.
Must make you feel so masculine. To take a predator from the very top of the food chain and dominate it.
Her father's megalomania, for one thing. Giles McNamara had a pathological need to dominate and control every aspect of his life, including his family.
Yeah, fine. One more game. This time, play with my dominant hand.
United and here to win the fight. We're here to meet you, defeat you. We dominate tonight.
Chase. Chase. Chase.
Chase. Cheese.
All right, now if you excuse me, I'm gonna chase that little fucker out of here.
I mean, normally you have to chase people just to get the last months.
Lower away, ball two. Chris seems to be pitching around Jackie, or as they say, trade, trying to get him chased.
Handsome Rob. Premier wheelman. Once drove all the way from Los Angeles just so he could set the record for longest freeway chase.
Didn't Roy just chase the story?
The Pentagon stonewalled them. It's a massive cover-up.
You are? Where are you heading? A bulk delivery to Chase.
I got to be at Tulane on Saturday for the Sigma Nu thing. Monday night, we've got the dinner with the guy from Chase and his wife.
You know, it's really easy to lose sight of what's important in business. When it comes to
Chase.
Come on, man.
Okay. You want to chase up the offer?
Then, have Diane write back saying, we're willing to take it to $85 million.
You want to chase phantoms and leave the fortunes of Florence to us? Go!
He's my friend.
Finn, let's move!
How far do the Reapers chase you?
They'd still be chasing me if I didn't lose them. Why?
Maybe he was just hoping you'd chase after him. You could use a bath, bud. You belongs to anyone?
Shield. Shield.
Shield. Shield. Shield.
Disable the shield. Disable the shield now. Disable the shield. Disable the shield. Disable the shield. Shields up! Shields up! Shields up!
Dad, are you using me as a shield against flesh-eating zombies?
No, I just wanted you to have a better view.
Is that a loan shark? Because you can use me as a human shield, but I'm not sure I could take him.
It's a family emblem. If he was bringing good news, he'd have been dressed in the more traditional red and white shield of Milan.
Piero presented him with a new shield while selling the original one to a vendor for 100 ducats.
I love magic relics. Show me one! Show me one!
Okay, but you should probably shield your eyes.
Captain, the Creevers have fired ion torpedoes.
Shields up and battle station. You want to talk to me about one of my clients? Come back with a detective shield.
Check it. So, Dr. Wells and I, we took your ballistic shields and...
This is Shield 218, asking permission to land.
You're cleared for landing, Shield 218.
It's a cloaking spell. It'll shield the town, making it impossible for anyone to find.
Well-being.
Well-being. Well-being.
Well-being.
Well-being.
Oh, for the well-being of my 533 kids.
Widespread distrust in your brother's leadership capabilities. Above all else, I hold the well-being of our country paramount.
Such as, what price does one put on the care and well-being of the mentally ill?
As I said, the safety and well-being of healthcare workers has been high on my agenda from day one.
Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate your concern for my well-being.
And you.
Oh, yeah? And why do you care so much about my well-being all of a sudden?
I don't.
All-out offensive.
For nearly a year, I have been devoting increasing attention to a problem which strikes at the very heart of our national well-being, drug abuse.
What's wrong with Sam? Honestly, I'm not sure. But I'm concerned about his emotional well-being.
Yes, that her safety is involved in her well-being and
Why the sudden concern for my well-being?
My name is John Locke, and I'm responsible for the well-being of this island.
I wanted to talk to you about Nahela's well-being, actually.
Liberate.
Liberate. Liberate.
Liberate.
Liberate.
That you're here to liberate them, liberate them, liberate them. Are they right?
with Private, freshly liberated, we celebrate with a well-earned high one.
And now that she's starting to live life as a liberated woman, I just don't know if I feel the same.
I liberated it from Pop's bag before we left. Chester helped liberate Paris.
Oh, really?
All by myself.
Nico! That's Vanessa. She's newly liberated from the convent of St. Anthony.
Indeed. And that's why we're going to liberate it from the one place Rio would expect it to be safe.
Oh, it's not mine. I liberated it from Agent Polk.
You see, I believe I may have an opportunity to be liberated from this place.
Alfie won't give us Alex, we'll liberate him.
Revision.
Revision.
Revision. Revision.
Revision.
There has been a slight rule change. The previous revision, allowing for 2 victors from the same district has been revoked.
So you were revising to improve.
I was revising because my life is a revision, is a revision, is a revision.
This is your draft of the bill?
Subject to revision, certainly. Subject to revision, certainly. Subject to revision, certainly.
Well, anyway, my writing's going extremely well, by the by. I'm already almost done with my revisions to chapter 37.
Hello out there, everybody! Hey, remember that earlier bromance revision I was telling you guys about?
Mr. Gardner is working with old information, in our opinion. I would submit this revision of the evidence room stamp.
Objection.
I'll accept. Continue, Rivers.
Thank you.
I didn't say that.
But you said you couldn't impact the results.
Yes, but the algorithm needs almost daily attention and revision.
Soon.
Really? You sound like you know what you're talking about.
Wall sent over his revisions for me to check out. Not that he changed much.
Wow.
So believe me when I tell you, Vasquez, that file you read is in desperate need of a revision.
Can you make it to round on Alyssa Kramer? The club fee girl? She's back? Yeah, scar revision. Oh.
No revisions to the agreement.
None. Everything is spelled out in the proposal.
Acceptable.
Acceptable. Acceptable.
Acceptable.
Acceptable.
No.
I think we need a minute.
No, we don't. You'll have to do better. This is not the time to play good cop, bad cop. No, I'm not. 50 million is not acceptable. Not acceptable. Not acceptable.
We can go. Fine. And while we're there, if a whale swims by, we can throw a harpoon. A whale is not a fish, so that metaphor is acceptable. It's acceptable. It's acceptable.
All right, so if I get my blue suit dry cleaned, will that be acceptable to everyone?
No, my client already gave me the acceptable amount.
Which is?
Mackenzie.
What's going on here?
Excuse me, I'm changing.
This is not acceptable.
We're not prepared to settle.
Well, we're way beyond that point, Mr. Hines. The only acceptable number is the full $5 million.
I prefer negative reinforcement. Silent treatment, the cold shoulder. You make people squirm, they'll perform.
It's also an acceptable form of human conduct.
Which I want nothing to do with.
Misinformation. It's an acceptable method of extracting a confession.
Although I still don't get why you're into meditation all of a sudden.
Division meds, I was hooked on, did a number on my blood pressure. Doctors say I have to get it down to an acceptable level.
A driver's on his way to meet Heidecker now. Deliver the payments.
I find Mr. Beecher's payment acceptable. Thank you.
How about doing deliveries for a florist?
That seems acceptable.
Do you have your own car?
I don't drive.
I didn't steal anyone. Your assistant is totally hitting on this joke, and he loves it.
Well, that's not acceptable. I mean, I'm her boss.
Accept.
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 Accept. Accept.
Except when Feinstein got fired and then he was a rabbi.
We made quite a team. Except for you being totally evil and all.
And except for you being as crazy as a big bag of cuckoo. You see, Tigress, maybe me being a celebrity isn't such a bad thing.
Yeah, except that's what put everyone in danger in the first place.
No start, no finish. Except for this guy.
Well, here's my situation. I'm currently unemployable. Except maybe by the rat who turned me in.
All right. Lunch on the veranda today. So we can all move, except for you, Freddie.
You mean like his and hers?
Yeah, except there's no hers. It's just his and his other one.
Everyone downstairs loves you for investing their money.
Oh, that'd be great, except one thing, I didn't invest their money.
We don't know why, but he goes to check on it and ends up paying for it with his life.
Yeah, except as it turns out, that's not what the security video shows.
You never want to talk to me about anything, except for my social life.
Wait.
This is serious. I thought you were going to live more frugally.
Yeah, I know. Everybody's a grown-up except for me. Even Oliver has a job.
Gee, can I refuel at your place?
Sure. There's no one home except me.
Cool.
We just shot up our own side. Killed every soldier except the one that the enemy hauled off.
Sleep and start dreaming. Not that hard.
Yeah, except I'm pretty sure I die in the stream if I go back into it.
Typewriter.
Typewriter.
Typewriter. Typewriter. Typewriter.
My typewriter on my knees is that. My typewriter on my knees is that. My typewriter on my knees is that.
That's my
big,
typewriter.
boy.
Just be careful with the typewriter.
Hello.
I need a drink.
I'll get the typewriter. Typewriter. Typewriter.
No! I need my typewriter. What? Every story I've ever written was on that Smith Corona. It's not just me.
Which is so endless that if you put a monkey at a typewriter and let him bang away at it forever, he'll...
Okay, do you own a typewriter?
Need somebody to keep up with the times. Gus couldn't even turn on a typewriter, let alone a computer.
Oh, there's the tiny typewriter thing where the actress who never gets to speak sits. Leo, take my picture near the tiny typewriter.
Just need to take away the computers and put back the typewriters.
No, absolutely not.
People try
You for 5 years, and I've never heard you mention anything about writing.
Hey, I bought a typewriter.
Typewriter?
Shouldn't Gwen have a typewriter if she wants one?
Mind your own business.
Set him up with a typewriter in my outer office. Scandy, it's time this generation learned my side of the story.
Receive.
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 That's why I brought you here. So you can receive it. Receive it. Receive it.
He sincerely believed that it was better to give than to receive. Receive. Receive.
No, Kate.
You gotta give before you can receive. Before you can receive. Before you can receive.
Are they transmitting?
Well, they could be, but it wouldn't do them any good. There's no satellite to receive the transmission.
For what we are about to receive, may the Lord make us truly grateful. Amen.
Excuse me. Hello?
Ask and you shall receive.
A bakery! I received this coupon for free plum pie.
Well, mostly it's just us. Why?
Did you receive a package in the mail last week, Mrs. Isaacson?
Well, I receive packages all the time.
When you killed him, we considered the matter settled. But then we received word from a reliable source that Merlin faked his demise.
I asked Laurel to make a deal. I turned myself in, and all of you receive full immunity.
If he lives long enough to receive medical treatment.
Are you sure you don't want to get married in Beverly Hills? It will affect the quality of gifts we receive.
On. Why do we need to send Henry back to that fiery inferno with no one there to receive our message?
You shall receive no money for the flower, and you will apologize to Ava.
Recommend. 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 Recommend.
Could you recommend a dessert?
Oh, you know what's awesome is the,
I was talking to Gary.
Oh, sorry.
I highly recommend the coconut balls.
Oh, okay, so what do you recommend? Recommend.
Oh, what do I recommend? Don't share needles and use condoms.
Yes. Man, the only thing that cures grief is time. Unless you're recommending a lot of alcohol. I can't really recommend alcohol. Man, it'd be great if you could, though, right? I recommend time. I recommend time. I recommend time.
And just one other thing, our business is actually not that great right now, so if you could recommend us to any of your friends, that would really help.
To Mr. Peter's Noodle Shop. 4 out of 5 herbalists recommend noodle soup for river fever.
How you gonna do that?
I recommend not going.
XO, recommend disengaging the fuel hose on our end.
Sir, if you mean to do this, then I recommend we have a Helo-Fly low zigzag to make it harder for someone to track it.
And what do you recommend?
Let me not sit and wait for Stannis to decide what sort of fight this is going to be.
It's my pre-packed disaster evacuation bag. It's recommended by the Department of Homeland Security. And Sarah Connor.
You're selling shares in a very exclusive retirement community.
Very sound investment in your future. I recommend you buy.
May I take your order?
What do you recommend, young lady?
Well, we're out of everything but pizza.
Okay, well then I guess it's pizza.
Vicious.
Vicious. Vicious. Vicious.
Vicious.
Have granted full set access to Maureen Schick, who will be reviewing our show tonight.
Uh-oh, she's vicious. She's vicious. She's vicious.
And everyone around the world knows how vicious, and dangerous Ken Dietrich can be.
They hate us. They're vicious. They're vicious. They're vicious. And they're very loud.
Auntie, you...
Oh, I see. Because I'm a monkey, I must love bananas, right? That is a vicious stereotype.
Mr. Crockett, it is actually about the university. Turning a blind eye to a vicious student ritual that cost Mr. and Mrs. Lawson.
You really want to help the governor pardon a murderer? The guy killed a cop. He started the most vicious Latino gang in D.C.
You sent one of your minions to ask vicious and personal questions to my client just so you could read her reactions on TV.
Did you hear anything?
They are vicious. Cruel. You want to see vicious?
Hey, don't.
She's my mother.
Mauvais don. It's a vicious killing machine. One of them can wipe out an entire village.
But every so often, something appears that is so vicious, so terrible, it cannot be tamed.
We've had vicious kings, and we've had idiot kings, but I don't know if we've ever been cursed with a vicious idiot one. You can't! I can, I am!
Why are all the gods such vicious cunts? Where's the god of tits and wine?
Typical.
Typical. Typical.
Typical. Typical.
Pretty typical stuff.
Well, it's not typical to me, sir. Typical to me, sir. Typical to me, sir.
Bob Cleverly was a typical football coach that you loved but feared too, you know, and
we're just typical people.
God damn, this is so typical of you.
'Cause I'm a fucking coward.
Typical, I guess. Come on, Don.
Very much the typical American family.
Violated that code. In a typical superhero, that would trigger a crisis of faith.
It's typical. You always take me for granted, Jim.
You haven't started packing yet. That is so typical, but no worries, I will help you.
Last night, he looked so well. Of course, would happen to a foreigner. It's typical.
Don't be ridiculous.
What was your shift?
It was fine. Typical.
What is it, Matt? What do you always say to me? Fine. Typical.
Disregard.
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 To wage an attack on the First Council is a flagrant disregard of my power. Disregard of my power. Disregard of my power.
Report detailing the irregularities in the shooting of David Tweener Apolskis. There's your blatant disregard for protocol on the death of John Abruzzi.
And the escape con who?
Holy Father, disregard what I said. Disregard what I said. Disregard what I said.
Marine, I think you're still fighting the war. 6 Spec Ops, have Adam disregard. We'll take the call.
Test their medicines on him, make their money off of him, and then just disregard him and throw him away when he breaks.
One of which is the luxury to disregard what baseball likes, doesn't like, what baseball thinks, doesn't think.
For the trouble I've caused, but most importantly for the disregard it seems I've shown you. The situation gave me no choice but to...
What do you want? Disregard our partnership. Ignore the resources and influence and trust I have invested in you.
Over.
Negative DC-52, disregard 1078, and resume patrol.
If he disregards this command, then he shall suffer the same fate as my father.
Love is like temporary insanity. We do things we'd normally never do, like disregard our sworn duty or...
But there is no place in my vision of democracy for wanton disregard of the law.
Chart.
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 David, that chart is very important. It is very meaningful.
Later, of course, we took it to a specialist, and her IQ score came back off the charts. The charts. The charts.
Books, diaries, journals, anatomy charts, anatomy charts, anatomy charts.
Potions, poisons, weapons.
Bring up chart plot.
Chart plot. Bring it up.
I'm really good with people, according to my chart.
I'm trying to determine her state of mind so that I can chart the best course of treatment.
Treatment?
No parachute or flares. I don't suppose the chart board made it either.
Affirmative.
Smart. Especially Shane. Off the chart.
Some anonymous person put the request in her chart and the lab followed through.
House, what are you doing? Chart said her potassium's low. Rhabdo elevates potassium.
Open up. You talk to Lip? Off the charts smart. Good genes.
Army.
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 Methodist. Commissioned Army officer. Army officer. Army officer.
How do you get this stuff?
Friends.
Just give me an army of women. Army of women. Army of women.
Welcome to the Army. Welcome to the Army. Welcome to the Army.
Get battle, buddy! It's like a Siamese twin!
I wish there was more. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Mason. We really appreciate it.
500,000 classified U.S. Army documents and hundreds of thousands of internal communiques from the U.S. State Department.
Judge gives you two choices. You got jail, you got the Army. Which one are you gonna take? Army ain't so bad.
I'll lie. And the Army will let me. You think they want their dirty laundry aired in public?
Who'd they get?
We don't know yet. We're trying to find out. It's probably Bernstein and Myers. They won that asbestos suit last year.
Bring them on. They'll look like an army against us.
My guess, if we cross-reference it with Army medical doctors, we'll find only a few with a name of that length.
I bet she wasn't even in the Army.
Oh, they're the only friends we ever had. But there's an army of ravagers around them, and there's only 2 of us.
And we're gonna employ it right here, in Nashville. So we're gonna form an army. You and I. This army has one weapon, that weapon is love.
M1 Grand Army, World War II.
That's beautiful.
German standard issue. M1 Carbine, standard issue, U.S. Army, World War II.
Vacuum. 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 Vacuum.
Vacuum.
Fucking the women you're with, it opens this. Vacuum, 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 vacuum. Which sure as fuck some other cunt is going to come and fill.
Damage. I've studied plenty of drug trials in medical school. These things don't happen in a vacuum. 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 I could go back tomorrow and get you that part you need. What is it? Vacuum tube? Vacuum tube? Vacuum tube?
I'm not going.
It's the washing machine, just to keep the door shut. I'm tired of having to borrow Mrs. Stubby's vacuum cleaner.
What have you done to me?
There is a weight. We cut open your veins and my arteries and created a vacuum between them, which allowed my own blood to replenish yours.
The giant sucking sound you're hearing is the current power vacuum in Starling City, one that I plan on filling.
I vacuumed up most of the glass, but I'd still watch your step.
I'll be extra careful.
Couldn't shoot him if I wanted to. This is actually the Star Labs vacuum cleaner. A nice phosphorus. Water or foam won't extinguish it.
But you can't burn in a vacuum, so you need to create one.
Please, what do I do?
You create a vacuum, right? Rotate your arms at super speed. That will create a wind funnel that will suck the air right out of the room.
Olivia. It's my vacuum cleaner. Your vacuum cleaner doesn't work. And it should, because it's brand new.
You called me over here to fix your vacuum? Did you clean in here last night?
Yeah, I couldn't sleep, and my choices were either vacuuming or ambient. And then I realized vacuuming is nature's ambient. Ta-da!
Not like you. You could vacuum with the best of them. Thank you.
Concentration. Directing the natural forces around me like gravity, which doesn't work in this vacuum.
Distinct.
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 The killer leaves 2 very distinct signatures. Distinct signatures. Distinct signatures.
This collection of presents is so gay that I think I must have given them to myself. But despite that distinct possibility, I'm gonna have to go with...
Now, on a personal note, I had the distinct honor to serve with your father in France under General Pershing.
I believe the French have a distinct advantage when it comes to cognac.
And the mothers from your file. This caused distinct neural excitation.
Now.
On occasion, the distinct properties of different lights enable us to see clearly what may previously have been hidden.
Get him humiliated.
A distinct possibility. It's gonna work. Even though the Louis has a pretty distinct body odor, we're talking about a courthouse here. That's too many people.
Watch his hand.
He makes two distinct movements. First, he grabs Mr. Harrison's arm, then he passes him the poison spray.
I couldn't help but notice a distinct lack of police cars when I got home.
This says that there are two distinct strands of DNA inside the tissue.
Full lower loop on her G's along with a distinct upstroke on her T's.
And they're here to seek redemption.
You don't actually believe that.
If I didn't think it was a distinct possibility, I wouldn't have let them in town in the first place.
Patient. 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 Patient.
It's impossible to say. Each patient is very different.
But we'll need to be smart, and we'll need to be patient. Patient. And we'll hit them on our terms.
It's 3-0 now. Robinson's patient, waiting for something he can swing on.
Give me something.
When he dropped a patient in an airtight room surrounded by Secret Service agents.
He says he's sure he can get you off on self-defense. So if you're just patient.
Oh, this is so exciting. What happens next?
Well, you gotta be patient. These things don't just happen right away.
Come on, the Medici's are none of them patient men.
Counselor Abigail Griffin, you're under arrest for exceeding the maximum medical supplies allowed per patient.
Yo.
How's the patient?
Gone. Never had a chance.
NYPD. I'm checking in on a patient that came in from a bank robbery. His name is Sal Martino.
Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud.